Hey, hello there. Angela from Soapmaking Soliloquy and Alegna Soap here. And I might have mentioned this one day, maybe a week or two ago. So Brian and I were watching the television show The Chosen, which follows the life of Jesus and the interrelationships between the disciples. And there was one, I don't remember which season it was. Um, yeah, I can't remember. I think it was like the third season, maybe the fourth season, where Thomas and Peter were in the market and they were shopping and they came to a soap stand. And Thomas, no, yeah, Thomas holds the soap up and gives it to Peter to smell. And Peter doesn't know what scent it is. And Thomas, he was a oh, what's the word? A vinter, someone who was into wine, who was a winemaker. So he was really good with scents. And he says basil and vetiver. They pick up another soap. The other soap is lavender, and then that's it. Like I don't even think I'm not even. I think they did buy soap. I don't know which one, but I do remember when they said basil and vetiver that I thought to myself, "Ooh, that really sounds like a nice scent." So I have basil and I have vetiver. So I started looking up like what did they make soap out of in biblical days, and basically they only had lamb tallow. Like there wasn't a lot of beef tallow in that area. They would definitely not have used pork because that was not kosher, and so they used lamb tallow. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't use lamb tallow. Like I don't even know where to find it. So I was going to use olive oil because those were the two oils that when I did a little bit of research. And believe it or not, I went to a conference over the weekend. One of the women at the conference was a butcher and a soap maker. She makes her soap with tallow, and she had beef tallow, she had pork tallow, and she had lamb tallow. So we are going to make this soap with olive oil and lamb tallow. So let's get started. This is the vetiver basil soap. And I used more basil than vetiver. So, hey, how are you? We're making some soap. I used more vetiver than basil. The basil is a very, very scent intense scent. It's very strong, and I wanted it kind of to smell like equal. So I used about point 0.4 of ounces of basil and maybe point 0.8 ounces of the vetiver. So this is that. There we go. All right, so let's get started. We have the lye solution here. So they did not have lye. What they would do is they would run water through campfires, and it's called potash. They would run water through that many, many times until an egg would float. And when an egg floated, then that meant the solution was caustic enough to make soap. So hello, hello. So this is going to be a really plain soap because in biblical times they would not have had colors. It's just soap. So hold on, let me just mix this a little more. There we go. I had two different vetivers and one was a little bit thicker than the other. Oh God, that smells so good. You kind of even see some of the vetiver at the bottom over here. Oops, something fell off camera. Okay, so this is definitely getting thicker. Okay, I'm just gonna. So hey, Urza, how are you? So this is I'm calling it a biblical soap. Brian and I were watching The Chosen, and there was one point in the show, I think it was the third or the fourth season, where Matthew and Thomas were shopping in the market. Oh, look how big this got. They were shopping in the market, and they picked up soap to smell. And Thomas, being a winemaker, could detect the scent of basil and vetiver. And I was like, "Ooh, I have basil, and ooh, I've got vetiver. So let's make a soap." And I was able to find lamb tallow. So yeah, so it's a plain. I didn't want to give it, hold on, let me get a second spatula. I didn't want to give it a color because, like I said, I wanted to keep it as traditional as I could. I did use my lye. I wasn't going to start uh sifting water through potash to get a alkaline solution. I don't really think that's too safe. So I did not do that. Um, so whoops. So let's just, so this is just the color of the vetiver and the basil. So I'm just gonna kind of smooth it out here. It got really thick really fast, which is fine, but it really does smell good. All right, so here, let's get one of these. I'm not liking all this mess over here. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm used to my stirring rods. So, so I'm excited for this one. Really am. And then I got another idea for another soap. I saw one. It was a beach soap and it had shells on top, but the shells were made out of soap. So I think that's my next adventure. So let's see. Yeah, so I don't remember what season it was, but and it was just a small little part. It really didn't have anything to do with this much of the story except that Peter was trying to kind of bond with Thomas, but they did go shopping together. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to cut this on Thursday. It might get a little deeper brown. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Like, I've never used the basil before. I've never used the vetiver before, but they do smell really nice together. So anyway, that's it for today. I will cut this probably Thursday morning. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you don't subscribe, thank you anyway. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. You guys make my day. That is it. It's beautiful outside today on Long Island. I don't know what it's like by you, but it's like 80 degrees. I was able to walk to yoga. It was great. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. And remember to wash your hands. Bye-bye, guys.